So if you're watching this, you know that the R15, at least the older ones anyway, maybe the brand new ones are different, but the older ones would freewheel when going down hills. One of the nice things about Rippa, as opposed to some of the other manufacturers, I suppose, is they listen to customer feedback, and they came up with a fix for the R15. Since my machine was brand new, I reached out to my dealer and said, hey, I heard that there's a way to get these things to stop freewheeling now. And he reached out to Rippa directly and said, yep, there's a new final drive motor. And they sent me a pair, which is great. The warranty on these things, as you probably know, is they will send you the parts, and then it's up to you to put them on the machine. So I got these final drives. I did see a video from Rippa on how to install them, which is basically they bolt on with 4 bolts. However, the video that Rippa provided shows the entire final drive assembly off the machine already on a bench, and then you're just pulling the 4 bolts, taking this little pancake thing off, and mounting on the new one. So it was unclear to me whether I needed to pull the tracks, pull the entire final drive assembly off the machine, and get it all on a bench, or if I could just change the part right on the machine without having to pull anything. And it turns out that is how you do it. So the first step you want to do is pull these 3 bolts to get this cover off. So these enclosures that the motors are in are open on the front where the hydraulic lines go through. And of course, that allows a lot of debris to find its way inside there. So the first thing I'm doing is cleaning all that out. As you can see here, trying to get everything that's in there out and get it as clean as possible. We're going to take this this motor assembly off, and that's going to expose the inside of the final drive where the hydraulic fluid is. We want to try and keep that as clean as we can while we have everything apart. Now what I'm doing is I'm just folding up some paper towel, and I'm putting it in the bottom of that housing, just as a way to catch the hydraulic fluid that is going to leak out when we take the lines off. So the first step is to take the hydraulic lines off. I think that's a 19 millimeter, if I remember correctly. Just back them off, loosen them up all the way, and then pull them out. Probably better to do the lower one first, because as soon as you crack them open, they start dripping hydraulic fluid. So I do the lower one first, so it's dry, and then I do the top one, and then we pull them out. I bought a set of these hydraulic little rubber plugs. Good to plug up the lines while you have it off. Helps keep them clean. You don't want any dirt getting in there. It keeps more of the fluid from leaking out, keeps dirt from getting in, so they're worth the cost, and they're not terribly expensive. Next, we pull the 4 bolts. These are metric socket, Allen socket head bolts. I think this is a 6 millimeter or number 6. I don't quite remember. You're going to want a set of these. In fact, you're going to want as many metric tools as you can lay your hands on if you're going to have one of these machines. Now, once these bolts come out, that box is not going to want to come off. At least mine didn't. But the bolts are the only thing holding it in. So it's just, I think just the vacuum of the fluid is what's keeping it stuck in place. So I just tapped it with a hammer. You just tap it with a hammer all around, and that gets it to break free. Now, once it's broken free, there's this little brown disc that on both of mine, was stuck to the box. That goes in that center hole. So you can see I just grabbed it and put it back in. On this one, it's hard to see here, but there is a little black O-ring that is set into the final drive assembly, and that's what seals this thing. On this one, when I pulled it off, the O-ring stayed on the final drive. When I did the other side, that O-ring came off with this valve assembly. So I cleaned it off, and you have to set it back into its little race that fits inside there. And then the next step is to get it on the bench and take these fittings off. I think that is a 25 millimeter wrench. They come off pretty easy. And then this part here, these plugs are in the new unit, and you have to take them out. They're kind of like this soft plastic. So if you put a wrench on them, they'll just bend out of the way. So you have to use channel locks to get them off. But the thing you want to be aware of is that they're covered in paint, and as soon as you start loosening them up, you can see that paint starts flaking off. So you want to be aware of that as you're taking them off, because you don't want any of those flecks of paint to fall down inside that hole. You can see I'm flicking the loose paint aside as I'm screwing that thing out there. Once the fittings are in place, it just goes back on the machine. You just line up the bolts. I think the video that Rippa posted on how to install these showed that you need to torque them. I think the torque spec that they were showing was around 50 Newton meters, which roughly translates to like 37 foot-pounds. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm torquing these down to 37 and reconnect up the two lines. So one thing to pay attention to when you're reconnecting these hydraulic lines is that there's little O-rings on the ends of those fittings. So you just want to check those, make sure they're clean and in place. And obviously you also want to remember which line goes where. With mine, they're zip tied together, so it's pretty easy to see which one is the upper one and which one is the lower one. And that's it. Tighten it up. I left the covers off on mine and rolled the machine out and tracked it up and down the driveway a little bit just to make sure that nothing was leaking. And then I put the covers back on and I was done. Easy peasy.